I said at the beginning that it was kind of similar to the Lakers series in the sense that both LA teams had dropped a game coming in. Both games were up for grabs late, and in both games, the LA teams won it. What ultimately won this game for the Clippers?
Well, I think the first thing that happened was Paul George showed up in a big way. And I'm sitting here thinking about this. You remember what we were saying about Paul George beginning of that Mavericks series and how badly he was struggling?
Yep.
This is the Paul George that, we know he's capable of doing this. He took over the game offensively. Kawhi Leonard was really good and efficient, but this was all about Paul George tonight. He got cooking, he got going early, and there were stretches in this game. He kept him in the game while Denver was playing well. And then I also thought, they absolutely hounded Jamal Murray in this game. I think Jamal Murray right now would love to see some of that Utah Jazz pick-and-roll defense again, where he was putting up 50 a night because the Clippers got in him tonight. They turned him. They were pressuring up on him over half court. You saw the rim protection on him. Paul George got some. Kawhi Leonard got some. Patrick Beverley. You saw that Clippers perimeter defense in full effect tonight, and it was a really rough night for Jamal Murray, and it's a shame because Jokic was fantastic. They got a third guy in Michael Porter tonight, but Jamal Murray, the guy that's been carrying them offensively a little bit, he really struggled, or maybe Denver is in control of this thing right now, 2-1.
Before I get to Boston and some defense that they play that I know you want to talk about, I have one more thought about this series in general because, look, Denver came into it gassed. We laughed about how sometimes sports, which can be so unpredictable, can be entirely predictable. A worn-out Denver team coming off Utah, they lost in a big way in that first game. But since then, they win convincingly in a game two, and they look every bit the game in this one. I guess what I'm trying to say, they could have won this game. It was there to be won in the fourth quarter. Do you see this being a lengthy series with Denver having an opportunity to stretch this out?
Yeah, I really do now after watching these last two games because, look, even tonight, Denver, if Murray's a little bit better, and I actually think Mike Malone made a mistake tonight by taking Michael Porter Jr. out of the game at a key stretch in the fourth quarter, and Jeremy Grant ended up with some wide-open corner threes that if Porter's on the floor and they're his, there's a good chance he's making at least one of those, and it was such a key stretch. So even with that, I think Denver has a chance to win that game tonight, and you got the best of Paul George. Kawhi Leonard played well. Lou Williams had some moments in this one, and yet here you are in a one-possession game with 3 minutes to go. So I think Mike Malone and this group believe they can win this series. They have been able to do some things the last couple of games offensively that give them great hope against this Clippers team. And I also think there are mental breakdowns that the Clippers have throughout the game that allow teams to stay in it. Yep. So my answer to that would be yes, Scott. I think I've seen enough over the last two games to think that maybe they can stretch this out to 6 or beyond. But obviously, you got to win game 4 to make that happen.
Understood. Now, we follow a Navy football game where BYU wins by so much. You just don't see Navy lose like that. And what I'm getting to is there's one point in the Boston game where they're beating Toronto by 30. And we don't typically see Toronto teams who love to compete lose playoff games like that. What was the key in Boston winning as convincingly as they did?
Yeah, so here's what I wanted to do. This game was over so early, I could put my notes away. So then I just said, all right, you're going to hear tomorrow, oh, they played great defense. You're going to hear that. Oh, their defense was great. Well, I'm going to show you why. What we're talking about in terms of their defense being great. It was on point. This is pick and roll defense at its highest level. And you see all these defenses dropping the big back on ball screen. No, this is how you defend pick and roll when you want to take the ball out of a guy's hands and be aggressive. Look at Tyson Smart. Take him all the way to the sideline. Perfect sink down by Wanamaker in the lane. He sits in the lap of Ibaka. Can't leave too soon. Weak side Ojale. You take first pass. Comes out to Thomas. Now take a look at Wanamaker. He has to wait just a half a count to give Tice a chance to get back. Can't leave too early. It's perfect rotation out to Powell. Misses, and then Tice has inside position for the rebound. The reason I wanted to show that was because that is literally textbook clinic, make a video of it, pick and roll defense that you instill in training camp. That is why their defense was so good tonight, because you're going to hear a lot about that tomorrow. Obviously, Toronto didn't play very well, but Boston had an awful lot to do with that. And now they've got a 3-2 lead in this. I expect a serious response, though, from Toronto in Game 6.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.